Hello, everybody, and welcome to Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal. How's Denise doing? Hi, Nigel.
Denise is fine. Had a great Christmas. It was nice and peaceful. As far as that goes, we still haven't seen Piper and Nolan yet, but Mommy had to work yesterday, so you just don't want to be around when somebody needs to sleep during the day. So,
Right.
Merry Christmas to you, Nigel. And
Yeah,
so,
Merry
Carl, how was your Christmas?
It was real good and everything. Me and Tammy here the day before she went with the grandkids and her daughter and stuff and got all that taken care of. And then, well, she did that Saturday. Sunday, we messed around here and went to a Sunday service, nighttime service for Christmas at one of the churches here in town. And then Christmas Day was me and her, nice and quiet. I smoked some summer sausage and everything, and finished up smoking some more today.
Very productive.
Yeah, it was, and delicious on top of it.
That's good. I made 2 turkeys just like I always do, and one was tough and one was not. So you're playing the gambling game when you buy your turkeys at Aldi.
Yeah.
But other than that, we ran out of eggs and I couldn't make pie, so I made another kind of pie that didn't work out. But it's all good.
Yeah, it is. You can always substitute anything. And yeah, it's been a great holiday, and hopefully out there everybody had a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody coming up, and be safe.
Yes, Bill, I agree. The worst turkeys are in DC.
That's right.
And more than likely they flew out for the holidays.
Yeah.
But still, when I think of turkeys, I still think of WKRP and their Thanksgiving turkey giveaway.
Yep.
Oh my God.
And yeah. God, you're telling our age now when you start talking.
Well, one of the houses we looked at is behind this neighborhood that we're in now. And it's a golf course, and all the streets are named after golfers. Mm-hmm. And so one of the houses we looked at was on Chi Chi Way. And I told Ron, I said, I'll never be able to say that. Because I'll say Chai Chai for Chai Chai Rodriguez from WKRP. So, yes. And it's bad enough. Lauren has a Chihuahua and I call it a Chihuahua. So it's never going to go away. But it's just, turkeys always make me think of WKRP. So I got us a lovely guest today, and he hasn't been on any of our shows in a while. So I think it's good to introduce him to everyone. And he's a good friend of mine. I remember the first time I met him in person, he drugged me off to show me some trees. So area of trees. And he didn't know what a crappy neighborhood it was. So it was interesting. And all I could do was laugh. But I went. So, right. And we've had a fast friendship ever since. My friend Chuck Banks, he is coming on with us. He is a high school football coach, or do you coach other things besides high school football?
Well, first off, I'll say hello to all your listeners. I'm a football coach, wrestling coach, girls tennis coach, strength and conditioning coach. I'm keeping extremely busy. I'm also the voice of Fort Madison wrestling, men's wrestling this year on Dog Pound Radio, which is kind of a new one, but it's super exciting. Written a couple books in my life, a couple this year, which by chance is pretty crazy. Looking back, when we first met and going into one of the probably the craziest neighborhoods in Kansas City, Missouri. Man, it's crazy how things change or shift, or how God manipulated life into what you are today.
It seems like it's been forever. I mean, I don't seem to recall a day where I didn't know Chuck Banks.
Yeah, a lot of people, they are. I, I'm speechless because having an understanding on who you are and where you're going and how you shape in life. It's pretty awesome, and it's been a great friendship, Denise, over the years. To articulate my vision and watching me crash and burn a few times, but never quitting. Always getting back up, dusting those knees off.
Yeah, we've had a lot of things to talk about, and we've got some feedback.
A little bit.
Where is that coming from?
I don't know. Where's it coming from?
You know what? I'm going to mute myself, and then we'll see if.
I'll give you a test. I don't hear a lot of feedback on my end.
I don't either.
Okay.
Okay, let's try this again.
A little bit, yeah.
Let me see what I can do.
She's probably got her computer up a little too high.
Yeah,
Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. I'm not much of a talker, Denise. You've known me for years. I'm shy. I can't articulate that constant communicational background. See your face.
Yeah, I see it. So does everybody else watching the show? They see the expression on the face.
Well, they're probably thinking it's as brown as other things in life.
Right. So we got new listeners here. What books have you written?
I've written several. I think I'm setting up about 18. Most recently, I've got into this life coaching. Trying to improve your life on a daily basis. Trying to get out of that rut. Earlier this year, I wrote a book titled "The Life of an Overthinker," and I believe that was in March. And basically I was kind of put in a situation where I had to switch jobs. It was kind of the woe is me. My God, why on earth are you doing this to me? Why are you moving me? And that sort of stuff. And I kind of hit my darkest time. You want to look at second guessing your relationship with God and that sort of stuff. But life of an overthinker, if you're ever feeling like some anxiety or depression or something's really bothering you or you can't shut off your mind, that might be the book for you. And then most recently in December, I released a book titled Dog Mentality: A Story of Mediocrity to Becoming Elite. And it's really kind of my focus, my passion, kind of where I'm headed next, which I've got, I've written a lot of books. I've taught a lot of things. I've done a lot of things in podcasting even, but I'm going to throw my hat in the ring of kind of life coaching. I have my specialist degree, 2 master's degree, blah, 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 educated idiot, that maybe some of the listeners will listen and that sort of stuff. But I have this strong passion, to basically make a difference in the lives of others, one soul at a time, one day at a time. And it's really kind of it's kind of the new Chuck. Those that knew me in the past probably maybe saw a different type of vision. But I'm sure Denise can attest. Carl, you can attest. Since the last time we've talked, my focus has never been this good or this articulate.
Yeah, that's right.
Nigel Porter. I ran him off because I was talking about life coaching.
No, he's overseas.
He's over in the UK, so it's real early in the morning over there.
Oh man.
He's always the first one to pop on this show and share it over to his group page. Oh,
that's good. I look at my past, and my bloodline. It's from I think right around Blackpool, England. Which so you can say that I have a little bit of bloody UK in me.
yeah.
So am I still giving feedback?
A
No,
little bit.
not to me. You're not.
I'm hearing it.
You hear yourself or us?
Doggone it. I tell you, anytime that you do live stuff, this stuff always happens, doesn't it?
It does, especially on our paranormal show.
Ooh, ooh,
And
and
it does every time. Any of the other shows on the network never happen.
oh man, and you bring up the paranormal, which used to be a passion of mine. I look at a lot of things from from a different lens in today's day and age, and I've got a lot of great friends that I met in the paranormal and that sort of stuff. But it's amazing. It's amazing how sometimes God kind of drags you in a different direction. You know what I mean, and fosters a different outlook on your life. And that's what's amazing about life.
That you're absolutely true and everything. A lot of people, we've been on a little hiatus of investigating and doing stuff here lately, but 2024, I think we're going to get back into it.
2024, I don't know how much I'll investigate. I'll probably go with my my group out of Cedar Rapids, probably on a couple of investigations. But other than that, man, unless God pushes me in a situation where I got to go out and help people, which I do. uh you know it's funny, I did write down a couple things today. um and I don't think that there are any accidents when you say this stuff, right? So I'm going to throw it
Right.
out there. A couple things that I wrote down. In order to truly find peace, you must forgive others and yourself and all transgressions against each other. I have done that, and man, love will flow after this happens. That's one thing that I wrote, and then I wrote, and Denise will probably laugh. I used to chase money, not dreams. I used to chase money, not dreams, and it's amazing when you find your passion and you can change your life, when you have those dreams, to help people in need and that sort of stuff. Then a couple more things, and then we'll start rocking here. But I used to run from God and hide because I was embarrassed with my life. That's one thing, and it's something that I've written down in dog mentality, and I think it's important to basically put that stuff out there, because too often, too often, we don't embrace what God has in store for us. And I was embarrassed with my life. I think God found me and encircled myself with elite people to give my heart peace forevermore. And then out of this, man, I love my little slang here. Out of the darkest and the lowest of times, I died and was reburied. I grew taller and healthier than I ever thought was possible. Out of the ashes, my heart and soul comes back. And I think I said last time I was on your show, man, I was going to make 2023 my what, and
Mhm.
2023 has been great. It's been great to me. I'm working with a brand of individuals that I can't even state who they are and kind of the foundation of my life. But Coach Derek Doherty and Coach Ryan Smith, all those guys, they deserve a lot of good credit, of bringing me into something that I never knew was possible, which is peace. And I think that's all we ever want in life is to find that peace, to find that burning passion, in order for us to create something we never thought was possible.
Oh, I know. It's been a crazy year and everything. And last part of this year, things have changed a lot for me. Finally retired from construction, remodeling houses, to go into my laser engraving, plus renewed a great friendship back on outside of town here. And it's been a fantastic part of the last year.
Has Denise got her sound quality fixed? Doggone it.
You still getting feedback?
Yeah. I'm working on it.
Okay. fine. That's fine. But yeah, 2024 is going to bring a lot of new stuff to a lot of new people, especially on this network. A lot of new stuff's going to come out on the Bill of Rights network. But life choices, a lot of things are going to change.
And that's what it's all about. It's about taking kind of that one step to improve each day. And I've been I've been reading a ton of books. I've written a ton of books this past year. I've surrounded with myself with people that that want to push me to my goals. And the funniest thing that ever happened this past year was when Ryan Smith, he's the head coach of wrestling and here in Fort Madison. When he said, "What do you want to do? What is your goal?" And I said, "I want to change the world. I want to change. You know what? I want to change the world for the positive." And he says, "Man, that seems to be pretty overbearing." So what I did is I went back and I looked at three questions and Jim Rohn, not Jim Rome, but Jim Rohn, he said these things. He says, first, decide what you're going to focus on. Okay, so I decided that I was going to create an elite mentality and an elite brand to get people from living a mediocre life or just good enough life to lead an elite life. And originally, the book was going to be called Monster Mentality. And Coach Doherty, has always had this dog mentality focus, and he says, "Man, that's dog mentality. You have to put that on." So when I was able to create that type of vision, and to basically allow the youth in our community, in the state, and throughout the world, to allow the youth to really push themselves, where they want to become elite. That's something that I'm really pushing. So what does this mean? This means that I'm going to write books. This means that I'm going to get my life coaching certificate that'll go on top of other things, and it's going to mean that I'm going to share my voice. I'm going to share Dog Pound Radio, Coaching Culture and Athletics, my books, and I'm going to share that to create that elite brand of individuals. So third thing was, what do I do? Well, excuse me. What do I do? Well, I write books. I utilize my voice. I open the door for people. I tell people I love them on a daily basis. I try to, in the morning, I create a list and I tackle that sucker. I won't cuss on your network. I tackle that sucker and I move forward. And then basically I look at failure differently now. Okay. Failure doesn't matter. All right. If you're getting 1% better per day and only 1% is getting better per day, then you can stack those babies up. And then eventually, after 100 days where you've failed 99% of the time, if you stack those 1% victories up, man, you're going to be 100% effective and eventually become a part of the 1% instead of the 99% that are going to gripe and moan. See, I'm getting better with my language. Gripe and moan, and kind of argue and fight with each other, kind of in the bottom. And that's where I'm headed. And with those three questions, I was able to basically hone down, and then it made Coach Smith feel a little bit better. Sorry, I was a little bit long winded on that one.
Oh, that's all right.
I like the story. So hopefully I'm not echoing anymore.
Oh, it's perfect.
Because Bill's just said that both of us that Carl and I had an echo, and I think it was me, and you had an echo when you were talking to me. So, yep, new computer, new problems. So, and then just think, 2 new computers in about as many weeks. So,
yeah,
between work and home, but so I'm glad to hear that everything's going good for you, because I know that you were really down on yourself back in 2019.
2019 was kind of I look back, it kind of started probably around 2017, when and again I can throw in a little bit of the paranormal here, and which would be important. And the paranormal consumed my life so much that basically it was starting to pull me in numerous directions, and it was taking my forethoughts on my family. It was taking my forethoughts on my friends. It was taking a hammer, you know what I mean, on my personal life. And it almost ended my relationship with my oldest daughter, which is a little bit crazy nonetheless. And everything kind of hit to attrition when you look at I got to think of the year here. It's 2023 this year, but if you look at last year, around November, when I found out that I was, God was going to push me into a new direction, and that I wasn't going to sit down and take it. Right? It was my twisted sister moment, and I said enough was enough, and I sat down and I had a conversation with God, and it was a personal conversation, and I actually reached out to my wife too and said, man, I need help. I reached out to one of my best friends on the planet, Coach Derek Doherty, and I told him, my experience that I was going through. And within a month and a half, I was offered a job, to go over to Fort Madison community. I went to the doctor to get a little bit of help with the overwhelming sensations and anxiety and depression that I was that was hitting me. And again, back to that personal relationship with God and the family and the friends, I was able to basically be reborn. And I know that sounds fruity, because in 1989 was when I was saved by Jesus Christ. But he, again, I kind of ran away, from God because I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed by a lot of the things that I was doing. The not spending quality time, not listening to understand, only listening to respond. And by George, since June, even a little bit before June, but a lot of things have changed. I quit tobacco July 1st.
Good.
Okay. And that's pretty awesome. Now, do I still utilize nicotine? Yes, but it's not tobacco. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Uh, I don't drink. I've lost some weight, which is pretty exciting. And I'm giving back as much as I can to not only Fort Madison but the entire world around me. And I would say the pinnacle came in November, right around Thanksgiving, when I finally said, God, can I forgive? Can I forgive those that have transgressed against me, so I can truly start loving not only myself but others around me? And I felt His presence, and you know what? I forgive. I've forgiven, not only other people, but I've forgiven myself, and that's generalized who I've become currently. And that's probably why I can go into these paranormal investigations without feeling that I'm going to be pulled back into something dark or whatever I was experiencing during that time period. But it is what it is. I love it, and I'm excited to see where 2024 is going to take me.
I'm excited to hear you say that, because I mean, I remember being on your show and you telling us as Ron was with me, about the demon in your basement. Are you doing this out of your basement?
Yeah, and it's
No
it's
more demon?
no. I would say that there's not a fear on this earth that could bring that back, if that makes any sense. That was a door that's been closed, and it's exciting to kind of slam that door, per se. And I have no fear that anything like that will ever come back and try to make its way back and interweave into my life.
Good.
Well, interweave into you at least.
Yeah.
Because I said this before, we would see things randomly behind you. And Sorry, the door opened.
You're good.
It was a cat. See? You see the little doors open. Yeah. I don't want to be talking about weird things happening behind you when suddenly weird things are happening behind me. But yeah, you would talk about that stuff and every once in a while we'd see something and it was dark and it would bother me. I wasn't fearful because I figured you were strong enough to deal with it. So stop it. She's torn up the edge of the bed.
Oh Lord.
And she's getting old. And you can't put a cat to sleep because they tear up your furniture. So we just gotta wait for her to die on her own time frame. Just in case anybody thinks I'm cruel, I'm not. I'll let her tear it up. I don't care. I just don't want to hear it.
But to kind of add to that, the paranormal again, it almost cost me my life, and I'm not going to let that happen again.
Well, you did make some rather sketchy decisions in there. One that I told you to avoid, but you didn't.
Well, it was do as I say, not as I do, right?
I know.
Right.
So, would I have went? No. But I still have that stalker though.
Oh man.
That's okay. I'm in Florida. She can't find me here.
Right. Now you're in southeast Iowa. How far down south are you?
If you had a line from the Des Moines River, which flows into the Mississippi, if you took that line straight across, we would actually be in Missouri. So we're kind of the Florida of Iowa.
Okay, so you're not that far from Mercer.
Well, Mercer, Missouri, it's kind of over by my old stomping ground, Centerville. So we're probably about an hour or so. We're over 20 minutes from Keokuk, 20 minutes from Mount Pleasant, and about 15 minutes away from Illinois.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I go up to Mercer up there during deer season hunt up there and stuff.
Yeah, one of my neighbors here, she lived in Beloit, Wisconsin, and she kept saying, "Yep, we were right on the state line." She goes, "Sometimes we were Missouri, and sometimes we were Wisconsin." And here they say that we're southern Alabama. We're not part of part of Florida that they claim. But when the Blue Angels are here, guess what? They all claim it.
Oh yeah.
So I have not yet seen. I've only seen the Blue Angels walking down the street during the parade. I have not seen them fly yet since we've lived here. But it's nice knowing that we got that right near us. But they did a few weeks ago. We were sitting around. It was late at night and it was really noisy outside. Boom, 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 boom. Didn't know what was going on. Apparently, they were doing maneuvers over by 87. That's the highway that goes down to the beach. And all that land between like 90 and the beach. So Interstate 10, from Interstate 10 all the way to the beach, basically, is owned by the Air Force. Did not know that they do maneuvers at night. So, and we lucked out one of the houses we looked at, they did tank maneuvers behind there. That would have been worse.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, all of our neighbors start sending out messages. What is that sound? What is that sound? And they're like, it sounds like gunfire to me, and come to find out it was, but it was friendly fire for testing. It's gone up. There's been a lot more maneuvers in the last 3 months than there were the first 3 months we were here.
Well, we're having a lot of that up here with the C-130s out of Rosecrans. Used to, they would fly over us at a high altitude. Now they're flying at 500 feet.
Why 500?
You tell me. All I know is when a C-130 is flying at that altitude,
You feel it.
they're trained to go. They can drop anything they want out of the back door. So they're prepping for something.
That's what I figure from, we used to live on a SAC base. So we understand Strategic Air Command. So I don't think that this is a SAC base down here at Fort Walton. I don't know. I'd have to look and see what Elgin is, or Eglin, and see what it is. But I know that they have a lot of planes, and a lot of them are Hurricane planes. And they have no B-52s. I mean, I don't even know if there's still a B-52 that's in service.
There's a ton of them.
Well, see, when we were on the SAC base, when we were looking at houses here, they go, you may not want to live over here by this area because there's helicopters. And I said, and they practice between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And they go, yep. And I said, B-52 is running up 24/7 just up the street from where we were living. That's where we met, where Ron and I met. Got used to it. Had a train 2 doors down. You get used to the sounds eventually. But here we got helicopters all the time. We have airplanes all the time. We're too far from the airport, but we have 9 airports by us. So we're in some flight pattern for something. So, and it's good to know that they're practicing. I just don't know what they're practicing for and how many times they're going to be practicing a week. But on Christmas Eve, we had a power outage on the other side of town. I didn't know about it, but I kept hearing boom, boom, boom. And that was all I heard. And I told Ron, I said, that doesn't sound like maneuvers. I said, I don't think they'd be doing maneuvers on Christmas Eve. Right. Somebody sent a post out saying Rudolph ran into the power lines. Found out that we had a bunch of transformers blew because of the wind on Christmas Eve. We were having 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Right. So over at the Milton High School. So
right. Pastor Gary's over on Rumble.
Hey, Gary.
He says that Chuck lives 10 miles away from his sister.
Really?
Yeah.
Bill, I never follow the flights. Right now, I'm busy following a ship. That's my big thing, is knowing where Ron's cousin is. He's a merchant marine. And sometimes our listeners are the merchant marines. Just so you know, Carl, that Todd will hunt me down and ask me when we're live so that they can listen, and the merchant marines get to hear us.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Just don't know which ship. I think Todd's home right now, but CJ is not. CJ's out. Well, he's out in Cadiz, so I'm worried about him. So I keep watching the ship to see where it's at. It only tells you when they go into port. So I don't know where he is, but they said he shipped out of Cadiz. So, and there's a lot of stuff going on over there.
Yeah, there is.
So Chuck, what do you tell people? Yeah, I know you've got a lot of players that come to you for advice. When they say they want to do something that's going to put them in danger's way.
It's important to look at that question. I kind of look at it from, kind of a fatherly perspective. I look at, my youngest daughter, who's going to graduate next semester at the University of Iowa, and she's going to be a highway patrolman. And, it's similar. It's dangerous, right? I've got a lot of former athletes or, former students that are in the Army or the Air Force or the Marines and that sort of stuff. And what I tell them is, I say, you have to follow your passion and your dreams. And if your passion and your dreams is to protect the United States of America, then, you've made that sworn oath to do so. As far as if you fear anything, you probably shouldn't do it. but if you have that passion and you have that balance in your heart, where that God's putting you in this position for a reason, then you got to go for it. And I kind of have that conversation very similarly to that. If that makes any sense.
A friend or a cousin's son is one of the Nebraska state troopers. So I hope your daughter gets a job where she doesn't have to go out and deal with the ice storms.
Yeah, she's wanting to stay in the the state of Iowa. So, and she's kind of hoping to be up in that Mount Pleasant Des Moines corridor. Like that old 218, I think or no, it's not 218. It's like 161 or something like that.
Yeah, he was on I-80. So we know that one was bad. It's always bad. But being a first responder is a huge responsibility. My daughter is a dispatcher for a police department here. So I wish the best for your daughter.
She'll do great.
Yeah, she will. She'll do great. And it's just, luckily, state troopers don't usually have to deal with domestics.
No.
Does she enjoy On Patrol Live?
I'm not even sure whether she watches that. She, like when she's done with her studies, man, she's watching like Scooby Doo and stuff like that to get her mind off the crap that she's got to read.
I watch On Patrol Live. In fact, if you see my Facebook picture, you'll know that I used to watch Live PD. But I'm going to be having on the media guy for Reels is one of my guests. And he's the guy that does all the media for On Patrol Live. I don't know. Did you ever meet, or did you ever listen to the show that I had with James McDaniel back in the day?
It's if I did, it's not ringing bells. Yeah, but I have heard of the name.
He is the guy that was the media person for Ghost Hunt Live. And he said that his handle back then was McFatty Peppermint or Peppermint McFatty.
Well, I have heard of Peppermint McFatty.
Yes, it'll be him. He's now in Albuquerque, and I'm going to have him on again, and we're going to talk about all the stuff that's going on there with Reels and his past life and New Orleans, all kinds of stuff. So it'll be fun. I got to get back into the swing of pounding people with questions.
Yeah.
So you're coaching all these sports, which is great, and I'm really glad to hear. So how much is life coaching going to change how you coach? Do you know? I look at how I've created the current vision that I have. When you want to look at again pounding that component. All right, so here's kind of how I do things. So I want you to raise your hand if you want to live a mediocre life. Raise your hand if you want to do that. Okay, no one's going to raise their hands. Now, if I was to ask you, do you want to just be good enough? Do you want to be a C person, or do you want to be elite? Do you want to get a B plus or higher? In life, right? Everyone's going to raise their doggone hand to what it means to be elite, and this kind of vision, that I've kind of fostered, and I look at the book, and the book is going to drive kind of that component of life coaching and who you can be. And to push yourself through here. I think the biggest art, and I've said articulation a lot tonight. I apologize, but the biggest thing that I look at is like this. All right, so sure, we all have crappy lives at times, right? We feel sorry for ourselves. We gripe and moan, with our significant others. We get mad at the dog sometimes, which we should never get mad at the dog on dog, right? And here's the thing. If we can basically foster a resilience in our minds
to realize that, you know what, there are people that are currently in the hospital and they're dying right now at this moment, and they would take turns with you in a heartbeat. So we got to quit feeling sorry for ourselves, and we got to dive in and try to peel it like an onion to figure out what the heck is going on in our brains that are fostering us to think like that. And I think that I've always been the type of coach that says, "Hey, man, do you want me to candy coat it, or you want me to tell you the truth?" And I've always told the truth because everyone wants to hear it, but not everybody is is going to like what you're going to state and that sort of stuff. And I look at 25, 26, 27 years or whatever that I've been coaching, and you know what, I've been doing things the correct way the whole way. So now I can take all those years of experience, get that stupid little piece of paper, which I don't necessarily think that I need, but it'll give me more clout, obviously, and I'll be able to say, hey, here's how you can go on the road to it becoming a better you. And again, do you want me to candy coat it, or do you want me to tell you the truth? And again, people want the truth, even though they're not ready to listen to understand for it. They're only listening to respond to the truth that you're going to give them. And no, I will be the same coach that I've been, a player's coach, and somebody who's been excited to basically foster new leaders. And you know what, if they become, like I look at Garrison Carter up in Creston, and he's won over 100 games already. And I can remember when I started coaching him 20 years ago, and I'm so proud of him. And even though I only had a 3-22 record as a head coach, I'm so glad that he was able to articulate the vision, and I share that passion and enjoyment, and I've become their biggest fan, if that makes any sense. And that's really what it's all about. It's to create leaders around you, to never be the smartest person in the room, and never take anything for granted, not 1 minute, right? So you know how we always say, like on Monday, we're like, oh crap, man, I can't wait till Friday. Here's where you change things, folks. You state that I have an opportunity to basically be elite every minute of the day until Friday. So I have that opportunity. Or I can be mediocre, just good enough, and not share squat. And, it's again, my passion has been reinvigorated to the point where I want to create people that are gonna make changes in the world, instead of just I'll just get on my cell phone and waste 3 or 4 hours on TikTok.
Oh,
Yeah.
A lot of people do that.
I can't say that I can say I've wasted time on my phone. I have not wasted time on TikTok.
I have. I've created a lot of great stuff on there. It's at Coach Banks 1 TikTok, folks.
Good.
I just won't load the app on my phone.
No, I won't.
I have enough crap on my phone. So, but it is what it is. So, but yeah, Ron's cousin used to live in Creston. Well, I guess she lived there forever. She was buried there. Her whole family was involved in sports at the schools there. So big deal. Creston is a big part of our family history here. So I am glad to hear that he took what you had to give.
Well, I again, it's about giving somebody an opportunity, and when you can listen, understand, and allow them. Here's another thing that I kind of figured out in the paranormal. Okay, because we are on Paranormal Nation Radio. I was so consumed with people going through their crap that sometimes I would like to jump in and basically kind of explain what was going on instead of listening to what was truly going on. And when you do that, I don't know. Some people say you're taking on their karma and all that crap. Whatever. But again, like if you have an issue, and I don't truly listen to what's going on and peel that issue like an onion, then you know what? It becomes my vision or my story. So I've made it about me instead of trying to help you basically fix things on your own. Because truly, as human beings, we have to, sure we can get information and get some input, but at the end of the day, man, this is our stories, and to allow someone to do that, man, you're taking away, uh, you know, their spark, their soul in many regards.
I understand. I'm one of the worst listeners ever, but I have gotten a lot better at it here recently because we have a friend that never lets me talk. So I've learned how to listen really well. So, hey, Chanel. Thank you, Chanel, for the Christmas card. It did get here, wrong address and everything. It got here. And I hope you're doing well. And yes, I do agree with you. Chuck is amazing.
Well, I want to allow Chanel's comment to make my head expand because, I used to be like that. I was like, oh my gosh, can I hear some good stuff about me? Anymore, I've become a lot more reserved. And, when you do that, good things happen.
Yeah, when you kick the narcissist out of your head.
Yes. Kick
Right.
that sucker out, right?
Yep. And then the thing is not that we're narcissists. We all have some of that. It's just recognizing when it becomes way bigger, when it becomes the demon as opposed to the acknowledgement. Basically it's just taken over everything in your life. And I witness it all the time. When we're out and about, I'll hear stuff and go, what do we do now? But there are times where I feel like I need to jump into somebody else's conversation. I don't, but I feel like I need to. And somebody's home. I gotta go close the door now.
I heard that.
She brings up some very valid points. I look at how many times was it, what did I make something about me, or how many times did I truly listen, understand, and any time that there was a real negative issue or a roadblock that kind of hit on a relationship, well, at that point, it was my fault. Obviously. I think I kind of call it poison now. So like if we're bringing up the past or anything like that, I say, hey, that's kind of a poisonous comment, right? Because truly, are any of us three the same people that we were a week ago? No.
No.
Maybe even 20, 30 minutes ago. We all consistently shape and we're moving in a direction, right? So it's whether or not we're able to take down those roadblocks, I call them, that are going to hinder your success. And I think the biggest thing is we got to set clear goals, and we have to set clear communication. And sometimes that means that some of the salty conversations we're going to have are going to hurt our feelings, but we have to dig deeper than that. We got to figure out why on earth we're having this conversation, and what is truly hurting our feelings. Is it our pride? Is it is it because of something that happened in 1987 that you weren't ever able to get over? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's some of the things that there are a lot of things that some people will never get over. It depends, no matter what it is, good or bad, it's just not going to go away. And in that case, what do you tell them? Hey, you've got to figure out how to live with that and not forget it if it's not meant to be forgotten. But you know what I mean? There are, some things that really do affect people and shape their lives forever, like the loss of a child, or because like I said, you can't get over it. How do we help people through that part?
Well, I look at this as part two, and kind of going through the roadblocks, right? You have to develop a growth mindset. You can't sit back in the concrete and allow it to dry up around you to where you're always going to feel that thing. And I think the biggest thing is we have to understand that there's always going to be a challenge. Okay, there you're no one's going to in the right mind is going to be able to be positive 100% of the time. All right. I drive in Iowa. I gripe and moan at Illinois drivers all the time. All right. Or Missouri, whatever. I think I'm the best driver in the planet, according to my wife. Right. So we got to embrace the challenges, and we gotta learn from those challenges and learn from the criticism that's going to come from that, right? Like, for example, if you did something crappy to somebody 30 years ago and you've never truly made amends with that person, well, that person still sees you as the person from 30 years ago. They don't see you as the guy right now, right? So you have to be careful, when you're, involved in that sort of stuff. You got to celebrate your effort sometimes, not just the results, because not all of us are going to be able to, forgive and forget, right? But we have to celebrate the effort that it's going to take to do that. If that's simply saying, "God, man, please don't let me have these negative thoughts about my former boss," or come on, man, and you have to look at that. You got to cultivate curiosity. You have to figure out why it is you're not able to get over that roadblock. So you got to dig. You got to dig even deeper, and develop that curiosity to figure out, where you're at. Develop a love for learning. Okay, be able to learn, the insight from others is important. Change I can't to I can't yet. That one's important. Change the I can't to I can't yet. And if you can be honest with yourself when you're trying to develop that, you can look at it, right. Use challenges as a learning opportunities. So I can't do it yet, but it's a challenge. So what am I going to have to go do right now to make that right? Cultivate positive inner dialogue. That's the most important thing in my life, right? Is to say, okay, Chuck, why are you feeling so upset over this issue, or why are you focusing in on something, this 98% chance that it's not going to happen, right? Why are you focusing on the 98% instead of the 2% positive that it might not happen? Surround yourself with growth minded community. That's important too. And again, this one's important, right? Because we look at the paranormal all the time. We listen to different variables of thought patterns and stuff, right? It's to acknowledge and overcome limiting beliefs. Don't be so doggone closed minded. Don't make it about you, and set those learning goals in order to focus in on that, and truly to be able to step over that roadblock that I can't. No, it's you can't right now, but eventually you might get it done.
What was the biggest life lesson that the paranormal taught you?
The biggest life lesson that the paranormal taught me was that I thought I was bigger in the the ability to tackle the devil or the darkness than I ever was. I had no chance. The paranormal taught me that I have to prioritize self care. That I can't just consistently reach out, and or what I'm saying. You have to prioritize your own self care in order for you to truly help others. And prioritizing self care, it allows you to establish boundaries, right? And that was something that I didn't do in the paranormal, man. I didn't establish those boundaries that I should have. And I think that's probably the most important thing, or what it taught me was to, number one, I'm not God. So why go after something that God's already got under control, and to prioritize that self-care both physically and mentally. It's important, not only mentally, but you got to focus some regular exercise in there as well.
So is religion an important part of the paranormal, or is it just a part of it?
Well, I don't know. I don't even know how to, come in the juncture at that point. I am very spiritual. I wouldn't call myself a very religious guy. I'm an ordained minister. I've married a couple individuals. I talk to people about God, not at school because you can't. Okay, but you always throw it in there, and you can articulate it at one point or another. But as far as the Bible, it's one of the most paranormal books, or supernatural books of all time that was ever created. If you look at, the constant conflict, the battle of good and evil, the battle of dark and light, all the angels coming in. It's one of the most paranormal or supernatural books that you could ever, promote. So, when I look at my spiritual relationship with God and Jesus Christ and that sort of stuff, I have never been in a better place. Again, I think I've had the calling to preach probably 3 or 4 times in my life. Okay, well, I was looking at it wrong, because my pedestal, to preach is different than to be a preacher that's up there in front of 50 to 100 to 100,000 individuals, trying to explore that their brand of Christianity on God. And I just can't do that. I choose to walk in the shoes of Jesus Christ. I don't choose to worship the way man has made Christianity, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does in a lot of ways, and I'm not going to dig into that one. There are a lot of things that I could say, but what you said about the Bible, if you look at the Bible, every book, every show that you watch, everything from the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to bed at night, you can find something in the Bible that has to do with that's what you're watching, at least the origins of it. It doesn't even, mass murder. These are some of the bad things, mass murder, plagues, bugs, things like that. Then you got the good things, people having children and people getting married and celebrating life. It's all in there. And it is probably the best dramatic series, comedic series out there if you spend the time to look at it from different people's perspectives. Because the Bible is interpretation. And, like Joel Osteen, he gives his perspective and you're smiling. But if you go to, go to these little churches down there in Kentucky, and you're fearing the stuff in the Bible from that. So, it is what it is. So, you're saying also being open-minded. A lot of times people are so close-minded because you said this is the Bible. But if you read it and not look at the front of it, maybe you'll learn something.
Yeah, I cannot argue that point at all, but I'll tell you, man, there are times where, and again, the Bible tells you to have a personal relationship with God. It doesn't tell you to go mingle, right? But it does tell you to be, with like-minded individuals at times, right? But you have to go in with an open mind and be able to articulate that. I can remember again on my darkest of days, and I'm saying, hey, man, God, can you give me an answer? And what's crazy is my oldest daughter called me within 15 minutes of having my personal connection with God. So that tells me that my personal relationship with him is far more important than the how a person on the pulpit on a Sunday morning or on a big broadcast going to do.
Yeah, I know I'm not big on any of those, and I'm an ordained minister as well, but I'm still not I'm not going to come talk to you about something that I know nothing of. I guess I could, but I'm not going to. I don't know enough about the Bible to talk to you about it intelligently. I know what I know, and that's it. And have I ever read the Bible? Yep, I've read it.
Hard to understand.
There was no meaning. The words meant nothing at that time. If I read it now, would it mean something to me? Probably. But back when I read it, I think I was 18, 19 years old. It was the only book in the house. We were just married. We didn't have a lot of stuff. And so I read the Bible. And like I said, it seemed like gobbledygook to me then. Maybe I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready to take it in. Do you think that happens?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got this sweet app. It's called the Holy Bible app, and I look at it like today, Proverbs 19:17. Okay, whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and He will reward them for what they have done. All right, so I look at that. If I was to read that a year ago, it's going to mean much different than what it's going to mean right now. I think that's why they say it's the living Bible, because it's consistently shaping and creating who you are. I'll be honest with you. I've read probably 80% of the Bible, and I'm always pushed to the parts that I understand versus the parts that I don't. And again, I'm 51 years old. I mean, it's changing for me. And you know what? When I was 18, man, I had no idea other than John 3:16, right? He died on the cross for our sins, and once you feel that, nothing else matters, right? I mean, it's
we were growing up. That's the only one that we could all recite.
Yeah,
Right.
Every football game, it was on. There'd be somebody holding a sign at the race or whatever. You'd see it everywhere.
One of the most interesting books. I won't call it the best books that I've written, or not I've written, but I've read. It was by Bill Weiss. It was, I think it was like, is it 15 Minutes in Hell or something like that? I'm not sure of the exact name. So 19 Minutes in Hell. That book scared the hell out of me, man. It scared the hell out of me. And then what's bad is you read it and you bring it into your congregation or your church and they're reading it too. And then you find out that Bill Weiss might have been a liar. And you're like, doggone it. I read this stuff and I took it in and I got into that stuff, and I'm not calling Bill Weiss a liar by any stretch of the imagination, but if you get on Google, you're probably going to find Chuck Banks is a liar, man. I mean, it is what it is, right? But you hate to you read some great stuff and then you find out people have kind of
taking liberties with what was said. Oh, I know. That's the big Ghost Adventures thing. They take liberties with what you say. So yeah, that happens, and I mean, it's sad that he may have not told the whole truth. I don't know the story.
Oh, it's a great story, Carl, isn't it?
It is. It makes you wonder. It's a fantastic story.
So, which part of it's fantastic?
Well,
the book or that he may have lied.
Well,
the story in the book is fantastic. Now, whether it's truth or a lie,
well, it's kind of like, do you remember? It wasn't George Norrie. It was the guy before him, Art Bell. And you remember the phone call in where they were drilling the borehole in Russia, and then this stuff was like played in like churches across the United States, and then you find out that it's a fib. It's actually 4 or 5 different movies and stuff like that. And it's those types of things that that kind of burn up, and you're like, doggone it, I had proof, but I think the only thing that I can tell you about hell is that I've talked to some people. I've investigated, the afterlife for years and years. Always been infatuated with death for whatever reason. Thus, death, the saga, right? In that story. But I look back and everybody has their own experiences of what hell is or what it isn't, and you're never ever going to be able to change somebody's mind. You know what I mean? Versed on that stuff, but I'll tell you, there are times on Earth where I kind of feel like I've already been there. Is that crazy?
No.
No, that's crazy.
You just made me think of something. When it comes right down to it, when you talk to people about their near-death experiences, they either had nothing or they felt like they went up and saw God or something similar to heaven. Do we ever hear any stories where it went the other way, where they ended up in hell during their bout with death? Do we know? Because I've never heard any dark stories about near-death experiences.
I think I got a book. Not sure where it's at. I did get the opportunity to interview him, and I can't remember his name right now. You can call the old police, but he was an atheist. He was an art professor. He was, I believe, in France. He died on the table, and he remembers being pulled to hell, and the only thing he could remember was the rod and thy staff, and started saying that, and the Star Spangled Banner, and all that sort of stuff, and then eventually Jesus came to hell and pulled him out, and his was maybe the most believable stories that I've ever heard, and now he's a preacher. Doing some good things down south, and I apologize, I can't remember the guy's name, but wrote a book about it. I read it. I interviewed him, and I did some research, and I can't find any dirt on this guy. So, that was pretty interesting. I can remember do you remember the show That's Incredible?
Yes.
And you would hear these stories about, somebody going into the furnaces of hell and coming back, and that's kind of when I started looking at that. I think talking about hell is tough because we don't want to believe that hell exists, but we don't know for sure that it doesn't. So it's been that fear within the realm of Christianity since Rome, right? Since the beginning. So even Jesus talks about it, so it does give it a little bit of clout.
So when you're doing your life coach stuff, are you going to get into holistic healing and things like that as well?
No, I want to focus on just counseling. Making people better, and if that means that I can bring people to their lighter side, or to see things from a different perspective, I will. But it's one of those things where you just kind of articulate it and roll with it. I used to believe in holistic healing and all that sort of stuff, and mediumship and that sort of stuff. But I've got to give credit to God, because without my relationship with God, would I have ever been able to experience the things that I did, or was it the devil that did that? I really can't answer that question.
So do you still feel like you're a medium?
No, I just feel like I'm a man of God that wants to share our vision to make the world a little bit better.
Well, that's gotta go with what makes you feel good.
Yeah. Now, do I believe in the supernatural? Do I believe that exists? Yeah. I've seen far too much in my life to discount the battle of angels and demons and that sort of stuff. I've just seen it, and again, that's my personal experiences, and some people will believe that, some people won't. But again, it kind of goes back to my life coaching, right? We have to listen to understand and focus, on their stories and to be able to and be open minded with it. Obviously, I can't be open minded with the idea though that there's people fighting a war on Mars. All right, I can't even contemplate a Star Wars type situation going on in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. One of the things that we've been talking about quite a bit lately is I've gotten more interested in aliens, UFOs, UAPs, intelligent, I hopefully more intelligent life, and what that means for Earth. You know, are we on a doomsday thing? Did God create these other life forms too? That we, as they say in the Bible, that we're in His likeness. What were the others? If He created those, what did He create them in the likeness of? Was it of Himself, or was it of reptiles? We don't know. So I just kind of, I've been getting involved in that kind of stuff. How do you feel about that from your perspective now? Do you believe that there's stuff out there?
Yes, and I kind of look at it, and again, we're reading a book that was written by men, right, or human beings, and if you want to look at God created all things, right? He created the whole heavens and the bottoms and the planets and the universes and whatever. Okay, so if he created everything in his likeness, then wouldn't he be everything, or he or she be everything? Therefore, God, is definitely there. I mean, that's again, that's kind of an open ended question, but that's kind of how I kind of pull it together. And again, I don't want to lead anybody astray or to focus on it because we have to come up with our own conclusions, but that would be my bet. I'm going to guess that we're not even close to being the smartest, or the most intelligent species out there. I'm going to guess, you look at the idea that how time works, right? Time's going backwards and time's going forward. Here's a theory for you. What if we're already dead and we're just replaying all this back in our minds?
That would be. It's as plausible as any.
Yeah, you look at it and how time works, and you look at science and how many times science has been proven wrong and that sort of stuff. I mean, are we really is Earth in our universe in a locker at some Paramount Studios or something? I love throwing out these types of questions and diving in because I remember a day, man, before the internets and the interwebs where I would lay down and, me and my buddies, we'd look up in the sky and we'd say, hey, man, I wonder how many planets are running around that planet, always having those deeper conversations. Most of the time there was a keg with, I think iced tea in it in case any of my, players watch this. Right. But, you think about how many times you look in the sky and you're like, wow, I mean, we are nothing but a little dink in something so vast we don't even have the idea or the complexity of what it is. And if you look at the universe and if you believe even in heaven or hell or whatever, and when we die, we're energies, so therefore we can't be created nor destroyed. I mean, we've learned that in science, right? So what tells us that we don't just merely go back into the universe and we're around the same like particles, which would be our parents and our ancestors and things like that. I love those questions.
Well, if you like that question, you're going to love this one.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
She's going to open up. She's going to open up the can of worms.
No. So if you were able to go anywhere in time, forward or backwards, everything you know now, where would you go? Or when would you go?
I think I would go back to 1984 to spend time with my dad. maybe a little bit before that. So like maybe 1979, before my grandfather died, Ted Clark. I'd have my both my grandparents and be able to spend time. But there's multiple things, and knowing what I know now, maybe even going back and seeing the my grandmother that died giving birth to my dad, August 6th, 1938. Just to feel Nellie Eddy's presence. I don't know. There's so many times.
There's a million days that we could go back to.
Yeah.
And just our own personal lives, So historically speaking, when would you go?
Oh boy.
A historical time, and
I think I would want to go back and experience Jesus being born. Just to be around it. To be around the energy, to be around a time in history where angels were actually coming out of the sky and telling people, hey, the good tidings, and hey, man, we got to go through this. But there's a lot of bad during that time period too, right? You look at the treatment of the firstborn boys that were killed, and that sort of stuff. So but ultimately that's when I would want to go back to experience that, and to experience different faiths and different realms of beliefs that are all going to come around this young man. Even people that were fortune tellers. You read it in the Bible, right? It's there. The fortune tellers and the shepherds and all that sort of stuff, and to be able to experience something like that, it would probably be very similar to the day after 9/11 on 9/12 when Americans were together.
That was a day that I'd never ever want to see again.
Yeah.
9/11.
But I would love to.
Together.
Yeah, I would love to to come back to 9/12 though. I know that sounds dark and dreary, but
no, because everybody,
the whole country
wanted to hug everybody. They were happy to see the people that were, the people that were not physically affected by it. Everybody that was alive, except for maybe the small children right now, that saw that, remembers where they were that day.
Absolutely.
And it's our, when Kennedy was shot. Where were you when you found out Elvis died? Some people, that was, Elvis is a pilgrimage, thing. But I don't remember where I was. I was alive. I remember he died. But no, 9/11 was my catalyst. I remember that day. I don't remember certain things from that day, but anything related to that act, I remember and won't ever forget. And I get really pissed off at people who say it was staged, and it's like, that kind of stuff. But that's me. If you feel like it was, go for it. I don't care. I know that you guys don't.
I do not believe that it was staged. I look back even before that. I can remember Monday Night Football when John Lennon was shot, and Howard Cosell, he was talked about John Lennon. Doggone Yoko Ono for disrupting such a band.
Who cares? It doesn't. I'm not a Beatles fan.
Okay.
People have heard me say this before. Don't like the Beatles. Don't like Pink Floyd. Hate Tom Petty. Free Fallin'. I was happy. I'm sorry. I'm not for his family's sake.
But now Denise, we have to listen to understand.
Apparently, though, I'm not supposed to say that in Florida because he's from Gainesville.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, I got to tell you a fun story. We were at a restaurant getting ice cream about a month ago, and the radio kept playing songs, and I said, well, it was a Beatles song, and I started talking to Lauren, and I said, I heard that they were putting out a new Beatles song, AI and stuff like that. And of course, here we were talking about that, and next thing you know, I was like, hopefully they don't play, they play another song of Pink Floyd, and I can't sing. And I said, well, if they play Tom Petty, we're out of here. Tom Petty came on, we were gone. And these people were looking at us like we were the cruelest people ever as we were talking about all the bands that we hated. So needless to say, I found out you don't talk about Tom Petty in public here.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
I know. You don't do it in Kansas City either.
No.
They love Tom Petty there too. But no, only thing I was happy about is I didn't have to hear about concert goings anymore. So, not being cruel, just my preference.
Don't be cruel. Okay.
Now, see, Elvis, I have some memories of Elvis, but I never saw him in person. But that was my one of my funny stories. I mean, we were ran out of a restaurant because it sounded like they were listening to what we were talking about while we were there. It just seemed very odd that their music would play songs from these people that we're mentioning, and the third song is like that is too much.
They're obviously not interested in cultivating strong relationships, Denise.
No, apparently they don't want me to come. Well, it's an ice cream place. Guess where I'm gonna go. So it's one of the last remaining Tasty Freezes in the country.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. So it's good. So far, I haven't eaten anything there but ice cream. And Dairy Queen's too far away. So, but it is what it is.
How are you going to get your life coaching? Are you going to do it live on air, or how are you going to do that?
I'm actually working with a group of individuals that basically it's out of a college on the East Coast, and what they'll do is I got to take one class because I've taken all the other stuff, so it makes it easy. So I'll take that class and I'll be a part of that fraternity and stuff like that, and I think they pull together and I would say the majority of my stuff will be like going into businesses or into organizations and doing my talks and stuff like that, and maybe peddling my book a little bit and that sort of stuff, but probably won't do a whole lot online. But I've been life coaching for years. If you want to look at podcasting and stuff like that. So Dog Pound Radio, Coaching Culture and Athletics. A lot of the stuff that we do. I do Dog Pound shorts, which kind of articulate the vision on how to get out of that rut and how to be a more elite person. So I'm kind of already doing that, in those shorts and stuff like that. But in my writing, I've got my own WordPress. If you want to go to authorcharlesbanks.com, you can read a lot of my stuff that I've written in the past and currently. If you want to check that stuff out.
Now, you have a bunch of your books.
Right. Where can people find Dog Pound Radio?
Okay. If you, the good news is we're on multiple facets. So if you want to go to YouTube, it's the Coaching Culture and Athletics is all you have to, type in. And if you want to follow us on YouTube, we've got, I want to say like 135 hours of stuff on there. If you ever get bored. Facebook, if you type in Dog Pound Radio, we show right up. You'll see kind of a picture of my ugly mug and stuff like that. On Twitter, or X now, right, at CCA Culture. You can follow us there. We're on X and YouTube and Facebook. Used to do a lot on Spreaker and stuff like that, but I don't necessarily do that anymore. It's real easy. With StreamYard, obviously, being able to push stuff out onto multiple facets, which is quite enjoyable. On Instagram, I got to see what my name is on Instagram. Isn't that amazing? It's kind of like going through and seeing what your own cell phone number is. I got it. Somebody's messaging me now.
Of course they are.
Yeah. So let's see. Coaching Culture and Athletics on Instagram as well. I'll put a lot of my kind of short stuff on there and on TikTok. So, and then I put in my link normally, but that's how you can find us. We are doing some live events, with obviously local sports, and we'll be doing some summer things in the community because Dog Pound Radio is affiliated with Fort Madison and Lee County, Iowa area. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create an organization to basically feed or clothe or give people things that they need. And this is kind of it's growing into something that I think is going to be worthwhile, and it's given a lot of positive inspiration and feedback into our local community.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that you're doing something that you really enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's and I tell you the best piece of advice that I ever got was that if you find something you're truly passionate about, you'll never work a day in your life. And right now, sure, I teach and I coach and I podcast and I write, but I don't feel like I'm working, man. This is truly something that is exciting to the inner core, and being able to share and give back. And then obviously it's tough to get a hold of me because I'm so busy and I'm so much into this vision that I apologize when I don't get back on messages and things like that. But it's one of those things when you put down and you self prioritize and you set those goals and that clear vision and you start marching that way. Your friends are either gonna, come with you, or you're gonna leave a lot of people behind, and that's okay. And I don't mean to, circumvent or sound malice or evil when I say that, but some people are only in our lives for a second, and some people are in our lives forever. And that's why I love you two so much, because I know that no matter what, no matter where I'm going, I'm still gonna find time for the people that I love.
Well, I feel loved. So, and I get messages from you all the time, and I still have the birthday message that you left me. So, of course, I've only had this phone about that long, so that's why I probably still have it. But I am grateful that you're in my life, and I know Ron is too. So even though he's not in here,
it's all good. Chanel writes that I'm sorry if I ever hurt you in my spins on this earth. And Chanel, that's what's great about life on this earth and God and the direction of things. I can reciprocate. I'm sorry if I ever hurt you on any spins on this earth as well. And when you can do that, man, life becomes remarkable.
She is remarkable in herself. So I really like her a lot. So back to the future and past. You're going to love this one.
All right.
If you were to go back, you get to go back with everything you have, or forward with everything that you have, your family, all that. What time frame would you want to go, forward or back, to raise your family, or is now it?
Well, it's a loaded question, which is okay. I think I would like to take my family back to like 1949 and live in the 50s.
The music was good.
Now, can I deal? And also, you didn't have these stinking cell phones that were taking every bit of your energy or creating roadblocks, right? I mean, we went out to eat last night, which is going to be a new family tradition. We went to Denny's just into Missouri, and so we're down there, and who's on his phone? It's the 51-year-old Bart that's on his stinking phone, and my daughter, bless her cat, said, "Dad, put down your phone." So, but there wasn't all this technology stuff back then, right?
Well, there was. It just wasn't affecting us like it does now. I mean, if you look at a cell phone the same way you look at a washing machine, it's supposed to enhance your life, not be your life. Sorry, I
Yes.
work for a telecommunications company. I know that the telephone has changed many people's lives over, over the years. Hell, telecommunications has changed over years.
These iPads are wonderful too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean computers. I mean, if it wasn't for technology today, we
we
would.
wouldn't be able to do these things.
But that's the way we have to look at it. And Ron would be going, "Yeah, it's coming from the person who's on her phone all the time." Well, for me, when I'm on my phone, it's usually when somebody's watching something on TV and they don't want me to talk. It's easy for me to get involved in something on there, or I could sit here on my computer and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I agree. I would probably like to go back to around that time. I love 50s music. I loved that we didn't have a lot of additives in our food back then. A lot of these diseases didn't exist that we have these days, at least not to the extent in which they did, that how they become.
Let the kids run up and down the streets, any of that.
Yeah, where kids could be shooting a Nerf gun and not be gone, oh my God, you got the kids a gun.
Yeah.
Back then it was normal to have a little pea shooter.
Cowboys and Indians all the time with cap guns.
Oh,
Nope.
the BB guns we used to shoot at each other, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
we got Ruby a Nerf gun, and we heard people in the store saying that kind of stuff, about buying guns, and I was like, he runs around and he needs something else to do outside. Not like he's going to shoot one of the black squirrels or one of the birds or whatever, because we've got black, gray, and red squirrels all running through here. It's not like the black ones are just really fat. That's the only reason I said that one, because they're slow enough to where you could shoot them. But long story short, we live in a town full of oak trees. So, yeah, you'd think it'd be palm trees, but no, oak. We have tons of fat squirrels here. They're not like your squirrels that have to work all winter or work all summer to get all the food for all winter.
They're pretty fat this year, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
These are huge. You watch them and they just walk through the yard and pick up a nut and go, and they're off. So, but yeah, he needs something to do outside, play, have fun. But I think your time frame is a really good one because we still have technology, so we still have indoor plumbing, and almost every house has electricity. Not all have floors yet, but it is what it is. So it was a good time. So, well, how about you, Carl?
Like I've said before, I would like to go back to the moment before John F. Kennedy died. Knowing where to look to see if a rifle was coming out of that window or looking at the little note.
Or what about the car behind him?
Exactly. To see if that secret agent did have an M16 in there type weapon that pulled up. Didn't mean to, but did anyway. Is one theory is out there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot out there, but I would love to go back in that time. I know where I was at when John F. Kennedy was shot. I was with my papa in his dump truck hauling a load of gravel when it came over the ridge. So, yeah, that would be an interesting time.
I know where I was. I wasn't even a thought.
Nope, you weren't.
My mom was still too young to vote or to be, well, my mom got married when she was 16. So, or I was born when she was 16. She was 15 when she got married.
Well, like I said, I'd like to go back that day, but I'd actually like to go back that whole week before. Because in our family, that week, a lot of things happened that week. My little sister was born. My uncle and 16-year-old cousin were killed by a drunk driver.
Hmm.
And then John F. Kennedy was assassinated. This all happened in a matter of 3 days.
Well,
Speechless.
let's get on to a bright note now.
Okay.
Anybody living, if you could have a conversation with anyone, living or dead, who would you have one with? You only have one person, you have an hour.
Well, the way my mom passed away and my conversation I had with her, that's good enough. I would say my dad. I didn't have a real great, nice conversation with him before he passed. That I can remember. So it'd be my dad.
How about you, Carl?
Moses.
You just want to know if he had 15 commandments and if he dropped 5 of them.
No, I'd want to hear the truth from him.
Yeah.
Compared to what's printed by man in the book.
Yeah, because it's fantastical. I mean, they've tried to talk about the Red Sea, that there are times where the ultra low tide where they could have walked across.
Think of that conversation. You couldn't get all the questions in and out.
No.
You'd have to pick and choose exactly what you want to know. And me, I think I'd like to talk to my grandfather and find out why in the hell he thought killing people was a good way of life. What drove him to do the things that he did? So I can avoid them. Because, I get tired of the doctors asking, are you feeling suicidal? No, I'm feeling a little homicidal today, but they don't get the joke.
But
I have scared off at least one nurse. but that's me being sarcastic. So you've talked about where we can find you. You talked about your books. What are your plans for 2024? Are you going to be doing any paranormal investigating, any other life coach related stuff, places where people can meet up with you?
Well, 2024 is kind of an open corridor. I was a poet and didn't even know it. Do you like that rap? Anyway, at this point, I don't have any thing locked in. Like hook and ladder. There is an opportunity possibly to go to Minneapolis, St. Paul region. To do kind of my positive chalk talk, TED talk. However you want to talk about it. My thoughts are is I'm going to coach this spring and this next summer, get ready for the football season. Probably going to put out a couple books in 2024. One of them called 101 Questions for the Coach, the Parent, and the Student Athlete. And there's another couple other opportunities, when it comes to that too. My thought is what I want to do is I want to create like weekly talks in the summer, to find an organization in the Fort Madison area where we can bring in the youth, or we can bring in older individuals even, where I can start practicing, this life coaching, this thing, pushing past mediocrity to eliteness. And that's kind of, all I really have staged, for the coming year. And again, I'm kind of living in the moment and enjoying it. Whereas I don't think that I really want to plan out that far. You know what I'm saying yet, because I want to embrace 2023 and attack 2024 a little bit differently, and really go with that perspective of saying thanks to the world, because thanks to God and thanks to my family, because I have an opportunity to do some great things in 2024. Whether that's finally establishing a corporation brand that's going to feed the community, or or it's just me, consistently helping people out. The sky's the limit. But at this point, I don't have anything really locked in yet.
Well, it makes you an open book and an open door, all kinds of stuff. So that means if somebody calls and says, "Can you?" you may have the time to do it. Where a lot of times people plan out their year so far in advance that they have no flexibility.
Yeah, and that's again time management. Yeah, and basically embracing who you are, and creating that support system that's going to help you along the way. That's important.
You've got a lot of things going on. I mean, I know you're going to be busy around May for graduation. If not sooner, isn't their graduation in May?
I think her graduation is the 12th, 13th, or the 14th. It's such a big class that it's broken up. So it'll be right around that time frame, and then I'll have my regionals, girls tennis around that time frame as well. May's busy. I would say, yeah, I look to June through June. I mean, June and July are still busy with football and that sort of stuff, and weights, but I'm a lot easier to get a hold of in June through like the first week of August versus the rest of the year. And I've embraced this passion of mine, and am I busier now than I ever have been? Yeah, but man, this ride is a lot of fun.
Well, it looks good on you.
I appreciate that.
So hopefully Florida will start looking good on me here soon.
It will. It will. Again, if it's not yet, it's just not yet, right?
That's why I said soon. So I've met some really good people here. We've had on a couple people from that I've met here on the show, and it's been really nice getting to know them. But it is nice that I can go to the grocery store in whatever I'm wearing and nobody knows me. There's a lot about that.
I do that at Keokuk. I go to the Keokuk Walmart, but the problem is 3 or 4 know me.
We've got this one guy at Walmart who sees us every time we're there, and I swear he works every day. There's not been a day in 6 months that we went there that we didn't see him. Not that we go to Walmart every day, because we don't, but it just seems like every time we're there, he's there. And he always has a smile on his face. And we have probably the only Walmart that does not have, we're hiring outside.
Wow.
They have not been hiring since we moved here. So you want a job down here, you better bring it with you. So, but it's interesting. But so what do we have coming up, Carl?
Well, next Tuesday night, Paranormal Nation Radio won't be on. Conservative View won't be on Tuesday night. But at 7 p.m., a special broadcast on the Billerites Network and Born TV on Rumble and other locations will be our yearly show with all our hosts on here for questions and answers from the comments and between ourselves. We'll be live. That's what's coming up next week, next Tuesday. Now, we do have Verbal Hangover and Rage Nation to finish out this year on the network. And then after that, we'll be starting all the other shows right back up through that week.
And the Paranormal Pride will be back on January 8th. Yeah. Last week I had my dates wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's all right. But yeah, tune in next Tuesday night, people, at 7 p.m. because you'll get to meet all the hosts on here and be able to ask them any question you want to. And I'll have a series of questions that I'll be asking all our hosts on here. So But you'll get to meet again. You'll see Denise and Ron on there. You'll see Barbara Phoenix on there, Chris Houston on there, Mike and Tammy Rage on there. So it's going to be a lot of it on there that night. We're going to look like the Brady Bunch again.
Oh, who's going to be Alice cleaning up the mess behind us?
I don't know, but we'll have somebody.
Well, I don't know if I have any more questions for you. Do you have any questions for us?
Well, what is the meaning of life?
I don't know. We don't have time to answer that question.
The meaning of life is, as you just stated it, it's LIFE.
Yep.
That's the meaning of it.
I will. I will leave this. If you want to make 2024 better, one of the most important things that you can do to change a new you is to practice gratitude, and create a gratitude journal, morning reflections, write it down, express gratitude to others. When I get up every day, I send out 3 gratitude texts, and I try to do new people, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Send gratitude there, gratitude meditation, appreciate small moments in your life, because we far too often embrace, other things that are at our control. Create a gratitude jar, mindful thinking, gratitude walks. Okay. Go out for a walk, reflect on challenges, gratitude boards. Okay. I write them down all the time. They're important. Gratitude rituals with the family, figure that out. Volunteer and help others. Gratitude emails. Believe it or not, sometimes I send some to my boss, Dr. Slater, and you know what? I make her smile sometimes. Reflect before sleep. Pray. Gratitude challenges. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And I'll end here with you two by saying I am so honored to be a part of your show, and being able to share where I've come in the last 6 to 8 months.
We're just so glad you got to be on with us.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you back on. Like I said, it's been a long time since we talked.
And I know we didn't talk a lot about the paranormal, but sometimes talking about real life is sometimes more important. And that's I mean, you came to that conclusion years ago.
Yeah. And again, I say that because the paranormal consumed me. The paranormal nearly killed me. But I was able to to balance out of that, and it's definitely been a part of me, though. As far as the experiences and and the things that have blossomed since. But I tell you, the biggest words of advice that I can ever give anybody is careful in the paranormal, because sometimes it can bite you, and if it bites you too hard, it can pull you down.
It can be addicting.
Yeah,
and that's basically what I think it became to you.
What's interesting is you get tapped into the darkness, and the darkness is always it's more fun to talk about, right? It's and again, I've changed since those times, right? But that's kind of what allured me, was like dousing the gas on that spiritual flame, and expecting a different outcome. It's kind of like the definition of insanity: doing same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You never do. But when you're able to to stand on top of the mountain instead of being in the muck, it definitely changes your perspective.
It does. It changes. One thing can change your entire outlook, whether it's good or bad, and how you look at it. I have a tendency to say things like, it'll get better. Tended to be more on the positive side of things. And I mean, I really try, but here of late, it's been hard to be positive. What do you tell somebody that's feeling like that? I mean, I'm not depressed. It's just maybe I have sad, seasonal affective whatever disorder. Maybe I do, but I don't think I do. It's just things aren't things aren't positive all the time. And it's hard to accept, I guess, that things aren't always positive. Even though I'm trying to be positive, I can't. What do you say then?
I think one thing that you can look at is establishing keystone habits. What that means is that keystone habits are pivotal behaviors that can catalyze positive change in various areas of your life. So by identifying it and focusing on these key habits, you can leverage the 1% better philosophy, whether it's regular exercise, mindful eating, daily learning, and so on and so on. But these habits, anytime that you're feeling down in the dumps, you have to be able to pull yourself out of that mindset. And it's kind of like having a keyword, like if I have the word, uh, I'm trying to think here, my dog Leo. So I'm feeling down in the dumps. So I'm saying Leo, and if I say Leo, it can kind of drag me back, and that mindful habit would be like, oh man, I love that dog, and it kind of fosters me into a little bit different area. But you definitely have to be resilient when it comes to it. Like this is the first holidays where I haven't been down in the dumps, at all. I feel good. And frankly, it's kind of scaring me a little bit because I was so used to the holiday blues, right? But this year it didn't come, and I think a lot of that is just is basically being able to look at your barriers that are in place, and writing it down, and establishing that compounding effect, that getting 1% better a day instead of totally transforming your life in 24 hours or this year, is more important. It's more important in your clarity, because not all of us are going to experience these negative emotions the same way. So we have to be open minded. When it comes to that, but establishing those keystone effects, our habits, can definitely change who you are.
Well, thank you for that. I'd like to thank Sam Thomas for coming in and listening, and Julie as well. So glad that you guys are here. Um, Hopefully, you guys can go back and listen to the beginning of this since you came in kind of late. Um, if not, make sure you join us next Tuesday at what time? At 7 o'clock Central.
7 p.m. Central.
And you'll get to meet all of the show hosts in one place. And you can ask us questions, tell us stuff. Just tell us. I mean,
Right.
we're all pretty good at being told.
That's right.
So
And you'll see a different side of some of the hosts. We always do. Figure it out. But we want
Can I?
yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead, Chuck.
Can
Go
I
ahead.
can I chime in? Sam Thomas, if you type in Dog Pound Radio on Facebook, you can check out a lot of my stuff on there. Follow me there. Follow me, Chuck Banks, on Facebook. If you can see my mug, and a lot of the stuff, it's basically all positivity based, and creating a better you. So sorry about that.
and Sam, if you can't find him, find me, and I'll tell you where to go.
Right.
Positively tell you where.
She's gonna listen to understand, though, Sam.
And hey, Susan, tell Mike we said hi and Merry Christmas. And I think the Christmas card you sent is in the mail today. I haven't been to the mailbox yet. So,
But we want to thank Things Network, where we're live at, Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment, Facebook page where we're live at, and Japan Paranormal. We're always live in Japan. Thank those 3 networks out for allowing us to go live on their page.
So
I love y'all.
we love you too.
Love you, Chuck, and you have the rest of the year, and happy holidays to you and your family.
Right back at you, buddy.
So you guys can join me on Monday, the 8th, when I start up the year. Let's see, sometime during this year will be my 9th year of doing the Paranormal Pride. And hopefully I can surprise you guys with some new and different peoples. So, and if not new and different, maybe new stories anyway. So make sure you join us here on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central and
Right.
Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Central with me, Carl, and the Invisible Ron. So,
Right. So everybody, if you need to find out what time the shows are, go to the Billerites Network on Facebook. There's a pin post at the top for a listing of all our shows. So always check that out. And we'll see you here next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. So everybody have a great rest of the year and happy holidays from the Billerites Network. Good night.
happy holidays, everyone, and Happy New Year.